All right, well, sorry for the delay. Welcome. My name is Wes Fryer. For the record, it's December the 12th, 2011, and this is Narrated Slideshows. And if you would like to check out the link to all the resources, you can go to wfryer.me/slideshows. And now that I've recreated that, it's actually working. And today we are going to be talking about three primary different ways that you can share narrated slideshows and your students can share narrated slideshows. And if you've been with me for some of these before, I'm pretty excited about, different uses of media. We've talked before about audio being underutilized. I think that, narrated slideshows are probably underutilized. We can shoot video and we can use, smartphones. And last week we had a session on iPad videography, and we certainly can do that. But there's really a lot of extra things we have to worry about when we shoot video, and we are, actually having to worry about lighting and, more different issues related to camera placement and all these other things and complexities. So what I want to do today is start off by just showing you some examples first off of what narrated slideshows can look like and what you can some examples of what you can do. And then we're going to take a look at three different options. We're going to look at SlideShare, we're going to look at Sonic Picks, and we're going to look at VoiceThread. Before I start, let me ask both of you, and we'll go to Altus first, and then we'll go to Florida. We don't have that many people, so maybe you can just jump in. Have you all narrated slideshows before? And if so, what tools have you used to narrate a slideshow that you've put online or that you've shared via the web? Have you all done some of that before? Well, a lot of us are already using tools like PowerPoint to obviously present information to students. And so one of the nice things about the narrated slideshow concept is we can fairly readily take content perhaps that we've already put together and we've packaged for PowerPoint and sharing in class, but we can break it up and put it in a narrated form online. So the first one, the link that I'm going to show you, and I will just click on these from the page, and if you want to click these locally, you can, or if you just want to watch me do this. This is a presentation that I did 2 years ago in Oregon called Copyright for Educators, and I share this one mainly because I'm just astounded at how many people have taken a look at this. So this has been up 2 years. It's been viewed over 26,000 times, favorited 53 times, and embedded in 102 different places. So one of the questions that we might ask at the beginning is, why do I want to do this? And just as you were mentioning, Susan, before we started, students get a lot of information in class. A lot of our courses tend to still be very text-based, and it can be very beneficial to provide that information to students with media with some different options. So it's not necessarily that we're going to substitute for the whole chapter in the textbook or all the articles that they've got to read, but we can really supplement what they're getting by using media, and we can also chunk it in different pieces that let them access it at the time and place, in many cases, of their choice. So on the link for narrated slideshows, I'll just kind of talk about the features here a little bit as I show you these examples, and then we'll get into the ingredients of each one. SlideShare is free. You don't have to pay for it. You can with some additional features, but I've published, I think, maybe 47 presentations now on SlideShare, never paid for it. Love it. It is mobile friendly, and so that means if somebody is looking at a SlideShare on a mobile device versus a web browser, it's friendly for that device and it allows them to be able to see it. It also allows you to audio sync optionally, so you can simply share slides if you want, but then you can come in later and you can add that audio and synchronize it. And I just really have enjoyed SlideShare. So let me show you this example SlideShare two different ways. The place I've linked to it here first is on the actual SlideShare website. And so as I take a look at this, a couple things that I see. Number one, up here at the top, I've got the title of the SlideShare, and it gives me, this is 2 years old, it tells me that. Over here on the side, as I mouse over, the person. It tells you whatever the person has put kind of as a bio about themselves, and then it has some statistics and some analytics about it. But up here in the upper left corner of the slide share, and that's pretty big, it says that there's a slide cast. There's an audio track that's inside. And so what I'm going to teach you how to do today is how to upload a PowerPoint or a PDF file to the website SlideShare, and then after the PowerPoint is up there or the PDF file is up there, then how to put your audio with it so that you can synchronize it and have the slideshow advance right along with your slides. And I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this, but rather than just go from the beginning, one of the things I'm going to show you. Question? Feel free to interrupt if my audio cuts out or we have any kind of problem. Do jump in. I can go ahead and hit.
We're using an iPad.
Okay.
And we're not able to view it on here.
So what is it?
It's not.
Okay. So what I may need to do for this one is I may need to that the support for mobile devices is something that they've added later. So what we might do is let me do this. I'll go ahead and link another more recent SlideShare that we can look at, and then we'll look at it both on the iPad and we'll look at it both places. So SlideShare gives us a public address with our username. So you just go to slideshare.net and then you put my name. You end up seeing my page. And then I can view all the presentations that have been posted, and I'll do this most recent one, which was my final dissertation defense that I did at Texas Tech. And so this was posted 3 weeks ago. And what I'm going to do is I will add this link, the link to this, on our page so that you'll be able to link to that as well. So I'm going to just edit my page really quick, and I'm going to add a link. And just to copyright for educators, I'll say dissertation defense, and I'm going to highlight that and make this a link. So now that I've saved this, if you reload or refresh the page that we're using for our handouts, you'll be able to link. You'll be able to link to this one. So thanks for pointing that out. That sometimes it's a big deal that SlideShares are iOS friendly because, as you may know, the iPad, the iPhone do not, with the default settings, play Flash content. There is a nice little, I think, 99-cent browser called Puffin. It's like the penguin, Puffin. And the Puffin browser does play Flash content, and you can do that on the iPad or the iPhone. But for regular things that you're viewing here, and people that aren't buying that special app, you can't view things that are in Flash. And so I think that when we publish content, it certainly makes sense and is a good idea for us to make it as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. So I can go ahead and just hit play here on this presentation. I can also make it full screen, so there's a button here that I can click to make this full screen. And if I hit play, it'll start at the beginning. But I can also go ahead and advance this slide deck to any particular position that I want, and then I can hit play from there. So for instance, here's where I was talking about the purpose of my study, and if I hit the play button here, we'll start to hear that audio.
The specific purpose of this study was to elaborate and clarify the link between an instructor's use of summary lecture phone casting, which I'll define, as a required course assignment and student.
Okay, so we won't sit here and listen to that whole thing, but what I want to point out is this is huge, because when students need to get a particular part of the information, it is wonderful for there to be chapter marks, or in this case, separate, the audio synchronized to separate slides, so they can simply forward to the section that they want or they need to review and play it from there. So SlideShare is a really good tool for that reason. Now, to demonstrate the iOS capability of this, did that link work on the iPad for you all?
Yes, it did.
Okay, awesome. So I am suspecting, not positive, but suspecting that the situation there is that it was not the old version wasn't iOS friendly, but the more recent published versions are. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put in our website for today, wfryer.me/slideshows, and I'm on my iPhone. And so it's going to forward me to our page, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on that link for dissertation defense. So I'm going to zoom in, click on that link, and hold down the mouse and say to open that in a new page. So it's opening this SlideShare in a new page. Now, I don't have all of the same features when I'm viewing it on an iOS device. In fact, significantly, I don't think it is going to let me listen to the audio here on this mobile device. It is going to let me swipe through and see the slides, but it is not going to let me hear the audio. And hopefully this is something that they're going to add to the mobile version. Obviously 2 years ago, that old version that I saw, they didn't have even this. So you tried to go to a SlideShare on an iPhone or an iPad, you saw nothing. Now you can see the slides, but to my knowledge, you can't hear the audio. So at least we're being able to see slides, but the other two examples that I'm going to show you are going to have audio that will be supported on the iPhone and the iPad. And we might mention, why the heck should we care? Why is that a big deal? I don't have the exact current statistics, but Apple has approximately 70% of the smartphone market today. We want to, I think, be on as many devices as we can, and a lot of students are having these devices. So if we can enable them to use their mobile devices for learning, that's a positive thing. And if we don't have to create, 4 versions of our file, if we get to create one, put it out there, and students can use it on whatever device, that's a good thing. So you can see that this particular presentation, in addition to the information I've already mentioned, where it's got the title up here at the top, and over here on the right side it has information about views and whether it's been embedded. It also gives me choices up here at the top that I can embed this. I can also download this if you choose. So students can have access through SlideShare to download your original slides, and then you can embed it wherever you would like. And that's the most user-friendly way to do this, probably. You all, I know at Western, are using Moodle extensively, so you can use that embed code, and right on your curriculum page for that lesson, you can have your SlideShare embedded. Students can view it, they can click play, and be able to get your content. So for a lot of my presentations that I share as a lecture, as like a 45-minute lecture, I will go ahead and put my slides up here. Sometimes I will put the audio because it takes some time to go back there, and as I'll show you today, upload the audio and synchronize the slides, and to do that. But particularly for a class that you're going to be teaching multiple times, it's great once you've got that artifact created because you'll be able to embed it and share that with students, and they could potentially use that over and over again. So that is the first example of a narrated slideshow using the website called SlideShare. The next example that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask some questions here in a minute as far as these different ones before we get into sort of the nuts and bolts of this. The next one is called Sonic Pix. Now, this particular tool is entirely iOS based, so it requires an iPhone or a iPad and iPod Touch. It has a free version, but it's pretty limited. It only takes 3 images and lets you do 10 minutes. But the commercial version is $3, and it's not limited. You can do as long as you want. And I will say a disclaimer, the publisher of Sonic Pix, or the creator, it's named Humble Daisies, their company, they do advertise on my blog, so I am, I'll just disclose that. They're not giving me thousands of dollars, but I do have a connection to them. I actually loved this app before I started taking advertising on my blog in September, and it's one of my favorite apps. I use it all the time, and I love it. So the example I'm going to show you is called Hot Pot in Shanghai. In September, I went to Shanghai, China, and I, as you probably can imagine, took a lot of pictures, saw a lot of different things, and one of the things that I want... this will also kind of cross over from just the curricular, thinking about your class, to thinking about life and personal uses of technology. One of the things Susan and I really believe is we need to play with media and use these tools on our own to get more comfortable with them before we, take that leap into the academic classroom. And so it's real beneficial to find personally valuable uses for these tools because it gives us a chance to play with them. And so a narrated slideshow, when we go on a trip, now with a digital camera, it's very common for people to take literally hundreds of pictures and come back with all this media. But if we don't do something with that media in a relatively short time, a lot of the things that we remember from the trip will kind of fade away in our memory. And so you can take some of your pictures and then record your voice to go with them and create a video like this. So when you use Sonic Pics, and I'll teach you how to use today, it makes a video file. That video file can be shared on a variety of different sites. I have chose to use YouTube as for a lot of my sharing. Number one, because it's free. Number two, again, the new version of YouTube, maybe not the old videos, they've converted those, but everything you upload to YouTube now for free is friendly to mobile devices. So there'll be a lower bandwidth, lower memory version that people can get, and it will it'll basically accommodate whatever you're doing. If you're on an iPhone or an iPad, it'll give you a version that'll work for that. So this is 3 minutes and 53 seconds. I'm not going to play you the whole thing, but I think we might do maybe at least the first minute and a half. I'm going to come in here and hit the full screen button so that we'll be able to see this large. And now that I've done that, I'm not sure if it's going to have to buffer again. Yeah, there it is. So let's go ahead and play a little bit of this, and you can kind of get a flavor for how this looks and works. Hello, this is Wesley Fryer, and this is a short narrated slideshow created with the iPhone application Sonic Pics to tell a story about a wonderful dinner, certainly a memorable dinner, that I had with a few friends here in Shanghai, China for the Learning 2011 conference on September the 9th, 2011. This is a photograph of the Kentucky Fried Chicken that is very close to our hotel, and we actually opted not to eat here in the Kentucky Fried Chicken, thanks to encouragement from Darren Carpatois, who I think would not feel it appropriate and right to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken when we're here. But as you can see in this next image and photograph, the menu at Kentucky Fried Chicken is not really chicken. This is a rice and beef dish, not something you would necessarily expect in Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we did not opt to eat here. What we opted for instead was the Hot Pot restaurant that was located next door. And so I've got a series of images here kind of showing you our meal. This is Darren putting some spice into one half of the hot bowl that was in the center of our table that was on a heating element and eventually boiled, and this is where we cooked our food, and one side was the spicy side. This is that dish after we had stirred in the spice, and there were some other vegetables that were kind of floating in this, and this was the beer that we ordered. It was actually 70 cents US. It was incredibly cheap. I do not know how Tsingtao beer is this cheap in China, but it is. This is the tray that contained all the food, which Jess McCullough ordered. Jess is from... Okay, so I'm going to pause it there, and that'll kind of give you a little idea. A little different from the other tools we're going to talk about, Sonic Pics is set up to basically have you get your pictures together and then just start recording and record your whole thing and to do it all live. So where SlideShare was upload your PowerPoint or your slides and then upload your audio that you've recorded separately. This is kind of made all together, and it's all built on the phone, and we'll swipe through the different pictures. You can hit pause. We'll talk about how much you can go back and edit and change and things like that. But that is Sonic Pics, and there's several different apps that will let you make narrated slideshows like this on the iPhone, and this is definitely my favorite. I absolutely love this app, use it a great deal, and I have put in a link on at the top here where we've got our examples. There's a more link. So when you click that, that link will go to my YouTube channel, and it just has a search for Sonic Picks. So you can see there's 7 different videos that I've got up there created with Sonic Picks. One of them, the beach, was one my girls who are, at the time they were in 5th and 1st grade, talked about it spring break, and we got to visit the beach, and they took pictures, and then they came back and narrated it. So I hope you can see definitely connections to how on a trip that you might take, a vacation, a holiday time, especially Sonic Picks is a great app to use to be able to create these kind of narrated slideshows and just get comfortable, using the tool and seeing how that works. The third tool that we're going to talk about today is called VoiceThread, and VoiceThread has been one of my favorite sort of digital storytelling tools of all time. One of the best things about VoiceThread that other tools don't do, that it does so well, is it allows for other people to chime in and to have a conversation together about different images. And this is fundamentally different from either SlideShare or Sonic Picks that we're going to talk about. Sonic Picks, if we upload the video to YouTube, definitely people could leave comments, or if we embed that inside our Moodle site, people can leave text comments. But VoiceThread is set up to be a browser-based tool, so use it on Windows, use it on Mac, or use it on the application. And there's a free VoiceThread application now available for iPad and iPhone and iPod Touch that will let you create your voice threads, but also moderate them. And a lot of the teaching that I do is with K-12 teachers, but I think this particular part goes with university professors as well. It's important and valuable to be able to moderate comments that are coming in when we share things and we post things. I am personally an advocate for sharing more of our content outside of Moodle and our learning management system, because when we lock everything up inside, a password protected environment, it really cripples the ability of other people to see our creativity and what we're doing and how we're sharing. And that's a bigger topic. I've mentioned it a couple times in this series, but I want to encourage folks to consider the value of that. So what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of this book report. This is a book report that my daughter Sarah did on the book The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. It's part of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. She actually did this, I think, maybe a month or so after the movie came out, and so she was talking about some of the differences between the movie and between the book. What you're going to see on the side of this voice thread, her comments in audio are the first ones. And in this case, we have allowed other people to leave comments. And so I'll play some of those. You're going to see on the right side, there are some comments that are in yellow. And these are comments that have not been approved yet for other people, or that other people have left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Sarah, and we'll probably just advance through some of her comments, and then we'll listen to a few approved comments that other people have.
You might have heard of the movie The Lightning Thief, but this is the book. It's even better, and it's filled with more action, and there's more characters, and I just think after I saw this movie, I was a little disappointed, but, it's really good. Last week, I got a chance to go and visit the St. Louis Arch. It is a big part in the book, The Lightning Thief. But I was disappointed because it was not in the movie. Instead of taking place in St. Louis, it was taking place in Nashville, which was okay, but I kind of missed it. This is a picture taken outside of the St. Louis Arch. If you didn't know, the St. Louis Arch is a memorial to Thomas Jefferson and the westward expansion. There is also a museum under the arch, which I got to go and see. And I really like it because it's really hands-on, and they have a lot of mannequins that talk to you. And I just think you got to go there. This is the top of the St. Louis Arch, where the windows and everything is just so beautiful. And in the book, not in the movie, Percy and Annabeth and Grover come up here, and they just wanted to look and sightsee because they were in St. Louis. But on the
All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute the audio for that and just point out a couple things. When I am mousing over, as I showed you for this panoramic picture, visitors can go ahead and click on the image and they can move around inside of it if it's higher resolution and they want to do that. Something else that they can do that you may have noticed is they can link to a source for where the picture came from. So it's possible for you to put that kind of a link in on a voice thread, and then if I click that link, it will actually leave the voice thread and go to whatever web link that you've put there. So in this case, it's a picture that is on Flickr that we took, but that can be a link to your curriculum or a link to somewhere else. And that kind of attribution for an image is really valuable. In fact, I think it's more valuable. Sometimes at the end of videos, we'll see scrolling credits, fast, 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 and you can't click on those. And they, usually are up there for a very short time. So I really, really love how VoiceThread lets you put a caption and make that a hyperlink to go get additional information about a particular topic. I'm now down here in the bottom right corner of the VoiceThread, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this set of 4 boxes. And what you see now is basically a thumbnail view of this narrated slideshow. So you can see there are 7 different images. There are yellow speech bubbles in each corner showing that there are additional comments that have not been moderated here in each one. This time I'm going to go ahead and play Sarah's closing comment, and then we'll listen to we'll listen to 1 or 2 comments that people left on this last slide.
I hope you enjoyed my voice thread. I had a really fun time making it, and I just love the first Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief book because it's filled with action, and I love the way Rick ends his chapters with so much, trying to get you into the next chapter. It's really hard to end it, and I just hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing this voice thread. I enjoyed the connections to the Lightning Thief, and I enjoyed the connections to St. Louis and the Arch. We grew up in South Central Illinois, and this is one of the sites that I did take my own children, so I thank you very much for the memories.
All right, so don't be turned off by the fact this is an elementary example and this is a book report. Just about anything can be put into VoiceThread as a narrated slideshow, and the opportunity for your students and possibly others, but probably I'm thinking about students, to have a conversation around different parts of a presentation that you're going to have is really wonderful. And so we have teachers all over using VoiceThread in lots of creative ways, sometimes just with a single picture and then a little prompt, and then students will chime in and leave comments. I don't have examples in this particular one of video comments, but students can actually use a webcam and leave video comments. They can also text comments. So if they don't have a microphone or the ability to record audio or don't want to, they can type text. In an online course particularly, I think it can really be wonderful to give students a sense of the voices of other classmates and students. And so there's a lot of different ways for you to think about VoiceThread and think about using it. The last thing I'll show you here in this demo is that when I click here on the corner, I have this final closing slide, and here it gives me the opportunity to copy the link and share that. So if I click on that, it will copy that link to my clipboard, but it also gives me an opportunity to embed this. And again, I can take this code, which looks scary, but we don't have to understand all the mechanics of the code, but copy that and then put that into my Moodle course or onto another website, and then have this voice thread right there with the rest of the curriculum and the rest of the assignments that students have. So those are basically the 3 examples that I kind of wanted to start with, and I've talked a little bit about features, and where we're going to go next is talking about the nuts and bolts of making those, of making each one. So would you all like to ask any questions about SlideShare, Sonic Pix, or VoiceThread? Just kind of to just ask anything about the different features or what they can do, or any questions at this point. So you would need to create a new field in Moodle, in your gradebook for that assignment. In terms of how you would make that accessible, I would recommend embedding it and using that embed code to put that inside the week or that particular block of assignments that students are going to do. There's not a streamlined plugin or something like that for Moodle where it's going to, tell you which students have done that. So depending upon how many students that you have and what the situation, one way to think about starting with this is you could have something like this, kind of like a guest book, right? You could use that check in on our guest book for our class, and you could have a voice thread that's going to be, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your career goals, and anything like that. It's sort of a prompt that would be a non-assessed way of using that. If you're going to be doing this for assessment, probably you would want students to create their own voice thread. You might, or they could turn in a link. I do this sometimes with blog comments because my students will do a lot more commenting and writing on their blog than I will be assessing and reading. So when I'm going to assess something, I will, create a quiz in Moodle, and I'll say share the link to, the comment that you're turning in for this grade. So students might do that for you on a voice thread. If they've been, commenting and you're going to assess or grade one of the comments, you might say, I want the link to the voice thread and tell me which slide it's on. It's going to be slide 3 or something like that. Probably the cleanest way to do that is if students create their own voice thread, they're going to turn in an assignment, and I would recommend probably having some guidelines to that so you don't get things that are too long. It just varies, but you could say I want a voice thread that's going to have 3 to 5 pictures and it's going to be no longer than 5 minutes long or something like that. Then they're going to have a link, and they can turn that link into you, and you could assign the grade, along with that. One of the things that I've done, I've used both WebCT and Moodle the last 3 semesters, and using Moodle at North Texas last fall. In both cases, I created quizzes for students, and they were they had weekly assignments, but I didn't read in this case for their blog posts. They didn't get a grade every single time they wrote a blog post, but they had to do their assignments, and then they would have a quiz, and some of those would randomly pick one of the weeks, and they would have to turn in that link. And so in the way that I set up my class, which was a Technologies for Teachers class, I was actually assigning them more writing and more commenting than I was grading, because I had 50 students, and I was having them write comments every single week. So anyway, one way to think about the assessment piece is they can give you a link for the one that you need to assess, and then you can click on it and go to it and put the grade in. Any other comments or questions or follow-up? No, it'll work on the other one as well. The only things the old iPad basically doesn't do is it can't shoot video, but it has a microphone, so it does audio fine. And when you are using it to present or share things with students, it doesn't send everything out to the projector with video out. So in the context of narration and voice thread and things like that, you can do all the audio commenting and all the features and things like that. Should work with the 1 and the 2. I actually haven't tested a video comment on the iPad 2 with VoiceThread. I really like the audio side of VoiceThread, so I've done a lot more with that rather than having webcam video. So if it supports webcam video, the iPad 1 wouldn't do that, but it would do everything else. And I think it's great to have audio as well. Students can pick a little avatar that they have. It'll create some automatic ones, but they can generate one, and it doesn't, they don't have to use their real name. They can be using an alias. There's a lot of options that they have there, and they can be private. You don't have to share those publicly, like we did with that example of Percy Jackson, for other people to comment on. You can have it private or just not listed, and then people get to it inside your Moodle course, or where however you want to link to it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions in Altus?
No.
Okay. Well, we got about, I think we started a little bit late, so I think we got about 20 minutes. What I want to do now is show you basically the nuts and bolts of how am I going to do this? How am I going to create these different kinds of narrated slideshows? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my computer and I'm going to open up a slideshow that I have done previously. This is a presentation I shared at our Oklahoma Distance Learning Conference back in early November. This has got 23 slides in it. This is in Keynote, but the process is the same if I'm using PowerPoint. And I am going to save a version of this that I want to publish and share with other people and put onto SlideShare. So one small thing that I might do, I like to embed my movies inside my slideshow. There was this Intel Rockstar 30-second video that I showed, and so I had a slide that had a screenshot of that, and then this is the actual video that's playing. Well, when I publish on SlideShare, I'll probably just leave this one in. I'm not going to have this one. So I might do some edits like this and delete that slide before I go ahead and save that. So actually, what I think I'm going to do, so I don't mess that up, I'm going to go ahead and create a duplicate version of this. And so I'll mess with this duplicate version. So I'm going to go ahead and choose to export my slideshow. And a lot of times I can save it as a PowerPoint file, but I'm going to actually choose in this case to save it as a PDF file. It depends on what you want to provide to your students. A lot of students are going to have PowerPoint. That's not going to be a problem. But with a PDF file, anybody can download, Adobe Reader for free. And anyway, I've run into some situations where students don't have Microsoft Office on their own computer, but they can open up PDF files. So I find PDF to be a very accessible and free option for students. It's read-only, but they're all going to be able to get it. So what I'm doing is now just exporting this file to my desktop, and I'm going to say export. And so now it has made a PDF version of that file. But remember, I can do this also with with just the regular PowerPoint file. So here's the file that's on my desktop that I want to share. So on our handout underneath SlideShare, and I call these ingredients, sort of like we're cooking a recipe, there's 4 different things that we're going to need. You're going to get a free account on slideshare.net, so you have to sign up for that. You're going to take your PowerPoint or your Keynote presentation and upload it. And then if you want to make the slideshow have audio, you're going to need to record audio and then add that to your slideshow. So let me just show you what that's going to look like. I'm going to go to slideshare.net where I've already logged in to my account. And up here at the top of my screen, there's I don't know if that's orange or yellow. There's a bright button there that says upload. So I'm going to click the upload button, and just like I would attach a file to an email, I'm going to say I want to upload a file, and I'm going to find the file that I want. This is a 7.9 megabyte file. Now, there is a file limit, and I want to say it's 100 megabytes for SlideShare for free accounts. So sometimes, and this isn't always, but I'll have slide decks that have like 80 slides and 90 slides. You can do some things to reduce the size of those files when you export them, but thinking about an online course, it's probably better not to have an 80 slide deck that you narrate. It's probably better to chunk that in smaller pieces, and so you might have 15 or 20 slides, and that'll be part 1 of the presentation, and then you can break it up in that way. But it has uploaded now onto SlideShare. I'm going to call this demo slidecast, because I'll actually end up deleting this. But what it has done just here as I've been talking is it has gone ahead and converted all of those slides into its program, so now people can click and advance through these slides and see them. It has also created an embed code, so I could copy that code and put that into Moodle, and I would have my embedded slides available right there with my weekly assignments or my weekly curriculum that students could see and go ahead and click through. Now, I want to make this a narrated slideshow. So the other piece that I need, and I didn't actually bring my recorder with me, but I put a link on here. I recommend that instructors consider getting a battery-operated digital recorder. And I have put a link here under ingredients. It says battery-operated digital recorder recommended. to a $25 recorder that Walmart is selling now that has a gigabyte of space. This is an RCA recorder, and it has a built-in USB. It's like a USB switchblade. You flip the switch and the USB just flips out, so you don't have to hang on to a cable or anything like that. It just plugs right into your computer. But either by using a microphone like I've got here and sitting at your computer, or what I'll do a lot when I'm doing a class is I will just put that recorder on a lanyard and wear it around my neck, and I can record my presentation. You're going to need to have your recording so that you can put that file up onto SlideShare. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab an audio file that I've recorded previously. I'm going to click on the edit menu, and I guess I can do some edits here to the slideshow, but what I need to do in order to make this a slidecast is I'm going to go ahead and edit the full version here, and you can see that I've got places to put a title and a description, but up here at the top as I search there are 4 different tabs. There's one that lets me edit my presentation details. This is basically my meta information for my title, my description, if I want to have tags. And by the way, SlideShare is a great site to find presentations by other folks. So on a topic that you may be discussing, if you're teaching health, you're teaching algebra, you're teaching computer technology, there's all kinds of stuff that people are sharing, and the licensing terms of those are listed on SlideShare as well. A lot of them are openly licensed with Creative Commons. But the meta information, like if I have I would probably want to put tags in it if I want other people to find it. Like my copyright presentation, I definitely put copyright in there as a tag. I can replace the presentation here on SlideShare if I want. So I don't have to, upload a different version if I've updated, if I just want to replace it. But this is the choice that I want to point out, and it's the third one, and it's called Create a Slide Cast. So I'm going to go ahead and select this button, and now I have a choice, again, that's bright orange. It says Upload MP3 File, and this is where I am going to select the audio file that I have, which is the recording that I want to publish. So I'm going to go in here to my podcast, my podcast files, and I'll grab a session that I had done previously. This is actually a 28 megabyte file, so it's going to take a little bit longer, a few more seconds to upload. But it is uploading this entire PDF, this entire MP3 file right onto SlideShare. So not only does SlideShare provide free hosting of our slides that we upload, PowerPoint or PDF or Keynote, it also is going to provide free hosting for our audio that goes with that as well. And I have done this both ways in some cases, and it's a little more complicated. You can upload your audio somewhere else. You could put it on your Moodle server or somewhere else and then link to it. But I've found SlideShare to be great just uploading it directly and handling it in this way. So we're going to need to wait for this audio file to upload, and once it finishes uploading, what we're going to be able to do is basically do the synchronization of the slides. We're going to be able to tell it when I'm on slide number 1, this is the portion of the audio that I want you to play. And when it gets to this point, like to 2 minutes, now I want you to go to slide number 2. So it has now uploaded my audio file as we've been talking here, and it says that it's processing the file. And after it's processed, it is going to load up this, which is called a synchronization tool. Now, this is all browser-based. I'm using the Chrome web browser. I really, really like Chrome, so much better than Internet Explorer. But this should work in whatever web browser that you're using. If you have trouble, you might try Chrome or Firefox. And so it has now automatically divided my presentation so that everything has an equal amount of time. What I'm able to do now is play my presentation. This red bar is my playhead, and I can hit play. I unmute.
Okay, that's good. Okay, good. Okay, so
It looks like I got some
let me shoot for 20 minutes.
extra
Seeing
audio
one more
actually on this one,
presentation
so
from the
I might have needed to trim that a little bit. But I can choose where I want the end of slide number 1 to be. And you can see that right now it's set to 6 minutes and 7 seconds. This part is called the post-production editing of your slide. And so SlideShare is allowing us we don't have to download software, we don't have to pay Microsoft something, we don't have to buy anything. It has a browser-based tool that lets us go through the synchronization process. Now, if my presentation's an hour long, guess what? I'm sitting here for a little more than an hour, probably because I'm listening to the whole thing and I'm moving those playheads to be exactly where I want them so that they advance at the right spot. This does take some time, but like I said, especially if you're doing something for a class that you're going to be teaching repeatedly, it's really beneficial to be able to have, that slide cast done. It's not exactly the same as students being, right there in class. Of course, they can't ask questions and things, but I think it's wonderful to be able to have not only the slides, but have the instructor audio and be able to go to exactly the part of the audio that you want. So when I'm finished with this, down here in the bottom right corner, there is a choice that it lets me save my work as I go along. That's a good idea. But I go ahead and click Publish. And now this particular slideshow is available as a slide cast. And when people go to my page, my main SlideShare page, and if we click on this link, we're going to see, like we did for this other one, a little triangle in the upper left corner. It says Slidecast Audio Track, and we can go ahead and forward to whatever point we want, hit play, and we're going to hear the audio for that particular point. So that is SlideShare. Anybody would want to ask a question about SlideShare and that idea and that process of putting your audio with it and synchronizing the audio to your slides? It will, right. What you probably want to do is just save it as a PDF. There are some, if you don't already have a tool, I know that you guys are big on open source, there's a variety of different tools that will let you on Windows print to PDF and create PDF. So from that Smartboard application, make your PDF, and yes, you can then publish those to SlideShare. And if you've recorded yourself, or you go in later, but it's handy to just get the recording at the time you're teaching, you can put that audio in there, and then students can have it synchronized. You also might, and I don't want to make work for your IT people, but as an instructional technology support, it's good for you to do it yourself because you were there in class teaching and you know when it advances. But that might be something you could ask for some assistance with to say, here's my PDF and here's my audio. Will you go ahead and do the synchronization for me? Somebody's got to do that post-production part of that. And that's both an advantage and a disadvantage. It's an advantage because it's optional. You don't have to do it. You can just share the slides. And you can be very precise with, how you want to move things around. And you can edit too. Like sometimes I'll have errors and mistakes and I'll edit my audio a little bit before I share it. But it takes time to do. That's both a plus and a negative. Yes, and they can get something similar to the in-class experience by by having your audio with your slides. I mean, they don't see your face, but honestly, for a lot of what we're doing, so it depends, but they don't have to see you. That's right. We think, oh, they've got to see me. No, they really don't. Their clear audio is really important, and so having that recorder, if that you wear, you can get a pretty reasonably good quality audio, and then it can be synchronized right to your slides. So I love SlideShare because we're already using PowerPoint, Keynote, and these kind of programs, and it really can help us take it to the next level where we're providing students with something more than they had before. Before they might have had the slides, but they didn't have our voice, and especially synchronized to that spot. And if I didn't understand the part you were teaching about, doing regression analysis, I want to go to that part of the presentation, and I'm going to play that part again. So I really think that's a beneficial aspect of SlideShare. Okay, well, let me show you Sonic Pix. I'm going to jump out of my web browser now, and remember, Sonic Pix is a application. So of the ones that I'm doing today, it's the one that you're going to have to be using an iPad or an iPhone to be able to do. You are going to want to have your photos on your device that you can use. So I think I've got some pictures from Christmas last year when we went to Colorado, and I'm going to just grab some of those pictures. But as you're planning this, step one is you've got to get your pictures together that you're going to use. Now, if you want to use some PowerPoint or Keynote presentations, remember that you can save as a JPEG or an image file. That technique, you have your PowerPoint open and you go to File, Save As, and I guess I can show this in my Keynote. You go up to, in this case, File, Export. You choose how you want to save it. Keynote has an option up here to choose as images. In PowerPoint for Windows, at the bottom, you can choose don't save as PowerPoint. Like instead of PPTX, if you have the new version, you can save it as the older Office 97 version. You can choose images, JPG. That will make separate pictures of each one of your slides. And so for this tool that I'm about to show you, Sonic Pix, or for VoiceThread, you can then upload those pictures and they'll be separately available as different images. So I'm going to now go into my folder that I call video editing, and I have both the apps for Sonic Pix and VoiceThread. I'm going to go show you Sonic Pix first, and what I need to do first is create a project. And so there's a little plus icon here in the corner, upper left corner, and it lets me do my title, and so I'll just call this Christmas 2010. Again, remember, this is a great app, and so is VoiceThread, that you can use for doing things that might, be personal or family, and you don't have to share these things publicly on the web for everyone if you don't want to. After I put in my title, if I wanted to, I could put a description. I'm going to click here on this button that says Add, and what that's going to do is it's going to let me either take pictures live, and I usually don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to click on Photo Library. And now this is the library of pictures that I have on my camera. And so here are pictures from Christmas. So I've got a picture of the girls caroling there at the house. And then here's my wife and my daughter. And then, let's see, here's a fellow who was doing glass blowing. And then there's a picture of my whole family. So I'm just going to do 4 pictures. But you select however many you want, and then you click Done. Now, if you download the free version, and you might do that to play with this, Sonic Pix Lite, it lets you put 3 pictures in currently and record up to 10 minutes of audio. So if you do short versions, or your students do, they could do several of these, and they wouldn't have to pay $3. This is, I think, a $2.99 app. So I'm going to go ahead and click Done. And now those pictures are here inside my project. Now if I want to change the order, I can click Edit, and I've got an Edit button here, and it will let me drag these pictures and change the order. So I can, I don't have to go with the initial order that I put these in. I can also add more images if I want to. But I'm just going to go with these 4 pictures. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click the record button, and I'm not positive if my screen sharing solution here is going to show this part or not, but I'll kind of make this quick. What it's going to do is give me a countdown to record, and then I'm going to flick through these pictures as I narrate them. So I have this button here that says tap here to begin recording. I'm going to click that button, and it begins. So, hi, this is Wes Fryer, and this is a little narrated slidecast about our Christmas last year when we went to New Mexico and we got to go to Colorado. And this is in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in the square where we were having some lunch, I think, on our drive out. This is a shot of our carolers, and this isn't, I think, showing for everybody who's on the video conference, but we had some caroling that we did before we left. And this is a picture at dinner one night. There's a big smile from Sarah. And the last thing is, when we came back, we saw the glass blowers. This video is now inside Sonic Pix, and I could go in and re-record this, change this up. I'm sorry, I'm coughing here a little bit. It's really not set up for us to go in and let me just edit picture 2. It's set up to basically sit down and do a complete recording going through. I can hit the pause button as I go through, but I can't easily go into the middle of my recording and just change what I said for picture number 2. But if I'm happy with this, I can click on the share button, and now it says that an export is required, and so I'm going to have to create the video. So it is actually creating a video, and now it gives me some choices for how I would like to share that. I can directly post that to YouTube from here. I can send it to my computer, or depending upon the size of the file, I can also email it. But generally, I've either sent it to my computer or I've chosen to post to YouTube. So if you've got a free account on YouTube, you can put in your login credentials and directly publish it there. And it's going to be available as a link for you to share with anybody that you'd like via YouTube. So Sonic Pix, I used this coming back from the China trip. I had a chance to go to this museum to see all these coins. I mean, China's got incredible history, 5,000 years of history. There's no way I think I would have remembered a lot of the stuff that I had fresh on my mind, right after the trip. So I used a little plug-in microphone to my iPhone and then recorded that and, have a narrated slideshow of some of those things recorded right away. So it's a tool to let your students know about. Like I said, the free version, lets them do 3 images at a time. It has, some disadvantages with it as far as you've got to get your pictures on your device, and you can't readily go in with either of the tools that I've really shown you today and edit them, edit just the audio that goes with one particular slide. VoiceThread you can, but with both SlideShare and Sonic Pix you can't. But I love it. I think it's a great tool, and the ability to create these kinds of videos and to do so readily and to share it readily. We've all got limited amounts of time. It's great, making a video sounds exciting, it sounds great, but sometimes when you get into a project and you're like, my gosh, this really, takes a lot of time. That's what I call the ethic of minimal clicks, and it's doing something that might have taken 20 clicks, but now it takes 5, or it used to take 100 clicks and now it takes 20, so that means that we can create more media and share more media, and then hopefully, share things with our students that we wouldn't have been able to share otherwise. Let me go ahead and show you VoiceThread on the iPhone, and then I'll show it to you on the web browser, and then I think we're going to be about out of time. I think I'm running a little bit over time. VoiceThread has created an application, and it is free, and you can create an account on VoiceThread for free. And like some other sites, they give you so much that you can do for free, and then you can pay additionally. But their app that they've created is really wonderful. And as I go here into my account information, I can access the voice threads that I have created before in the past. So those will load up and I can see those. I can also see comments. So there's 54 new comments that people have made about different voice threads. So for instance, here's one that Alana King, who's a teacher in New Zealand, has made. And I can go ahead and play this comment to listen to it. So the app itself is going to let us take a look at take a look at comments that other people have made and even create slideshows. Here's how the app works. It's got an option to create. So you hit a plus, and just like we saw with Sonic Pics, I could take pictures on my camera, or I can go to my library. And I'll just do sort of the same thing I did before. Let me just select a few different pictures from Christmas last year. And then when I say done, those images are going to load up into the VoiceThread app. And now, different from Sonic Pics, which is going to kind of do a continuous stream, I'm going to be able to select the picture here, and then I can go ahead and choose to leave a comment. And when I leave my comment, it's going to let me go ahead and record either text, or either my voice or text that's going to go with that picture. So it's advantageous that the app for VoiceThread is completely free. I don't have to make a purchase in order to create those. There are fees that go with making more than your free account allows you to make. So there are also some student accounts and things like that you can check out. So the last thing that I'm going to show you is how to put together a VoiceThread in the web browser, and this is going to be a really, really fast introduction. Like we've talked about with the other tools, step one is really getting your pictures together. If you're doing a PowerPoint, in fact, that might be what I'll do in this case. I'm going to take this. I'll take this same slideshow that I had, and I'm just going to save this slideshow. I'm going to export it as images. So I could find pictures somewhere else, but I can also, put my slides and save those as images. So on my desktop now, I've got a folder, and here are all the pictures from my slideshow saved out as separate images that I can put in. Just like we did with the SlideShare program, we've got to create an account in order to do this. So we create an account on VoiceThread. And VoiceThread is a wonderful example of a tool which uses a design concept called layered complexity. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, but they don't give you 50 choices at the beginning. Usually they give you like 3, or they give you 6, in this case on the front home page. So I'm going to choose this first choice, which is to create a voice thread, and I'm not going to see 100 choices. I see 3. It's a 3-part process. So I'm going to upload images, then I'm going to comment, and then I'm going to share. So my first choice is to upload images, and it gives me choices of where these come from. I'm going to get them from my computer, but I could also take things from my webcam. I could go to other media sources. They've got, I think, the New York Library and some other places linked, or I could get a web link to get it directly from the web if I haven't downloaded it. But I'm simply going to click my computer, browse to my desktop, and here I've got my pictures. So I'm just going to bring in, let's just bring in 3 pictures. So I'll hold my shift key down, open these, and then these 3 pictures are going to load up into my browser so that I can use them. Just like we saw with other apps, I can change the order. If I decide I want this first, I can drag it over there. But this is step 1, and it is putting my images into my slideshow. Now, I can put, and probably do want to put, a title and description in. And on each slide, I can add a title and a link. That is the technique I mentioned that I like so much about VoiceThread, that you can actually have a live hyperlink that gives credit to where that image came from, or gives the opportunity for students to learn more. So this is just going to be a demo, so I'm just going to call this demo. I'm not going to put anything else on it. But if I wanted to, I could say, learn more, and then put a link to a website like playingwithmedia.com, and then that's going to actually be a hyperlink available here. If I wanted to add more images, I could just click upload and I can go get more. But I'm going to go to the comment choice, and now I have a chance under the image where it says comment to leave a comment, either by typing, by recording my voice, or by using my webcam. We won't talk about the phone option, but you can even have it call you and use your phone if you don't have a microphone. I'm going to simply click record, and you're going to get a pop-up menu that, depending on your web browser, that's going to basically ask for permission. This is using Flash Player, and it's going to ask for permission to access your microphone. So you're going to click allow, that it's okay. And now I say, hi, this is Wes, and today we're going to be talking about redefining geek at our school and helping the geeks in our midst, and even all the students who might not consider themselves geeks, to see how valuable it is to have technology skills and to be digitally literate and to change the world in much the same ways that we see people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs changing the world. So I'll hit stop. Now that it's okay. And now I can save that and preview that, and that recorded audio goes over here on the side. So I can repeat that same process for all the images that are here in my slide deck. Just like I showed you with Sarah's example, you can click on the corner and you'll see thumbnail views of your images. If you want to, change the order of these, you can have as many or as little as you want. I've used VoiceThread where we just have one picture and we do one prompt, and we have students chime in and ask questions, respond to the prompt on the same picture, or you can break that up into different pieces. The third option over here on the side is to share it. And your sharing options, you can send email to people, but in the case of a class, you probably are going to want to put a link on your page. And I always encourage teachers to check the box that says moderate comments. And that means you are going to be able to approve comments before they go on. Anytime, I guess I should say, that you have something linked publicly out on the web, you always want to moderate comments. If you don't have this out on the web for others to see and it's just inside your Moodle, then that might be a little bit different. But the VoiceThread does give you the chance to embed it, and the most user-friendly way that you can share a VoiceThread or a SlideShare or a Sonic Pics that you've put on YouTube is to embed it right on your website so that people can, just click a link right there on the page, and they don't have to go off to another site where they might get confused or get lost. They're going to be able to see it right there. So I'll see if we've got a few questions. I apologize, I've run just a little bit over time. This is actually the first opportunity I've had to do this narrated slideshow presentation as a video conference, and I probably took a little bit longer maybe than I needed to at the beginning as we were talking about examples. But we did get through all three. Hopefully you've seen, the differences as far as what SlideShare offers, what Sonic Pics offers, and what VoiceThread offers. The good news is there's a lot we can do for free without any cost. And my main homework for you is going to be to play with at least one of these tools and, use it. Take maybe a PowerPoint that you've done, take part of a PowerPoint that you've done, and play with it to see how it works, whichever one, grabs your imagination and you think would be the most immediately valuable. If you're thinking about doing something over the holidays with vacation pictures or family pictures, VoiceThread is wonderful to do because, again, you can even keep it private and invite other people to leave comments. And VoiceThread actually started with some guys who had found old family pictures and they didn't know who was in the picture, and so they wanted a tool that would let them send it to their family and say, hey, who do you recognize in this? And different people would chime in talking about, well, that's old Uncle so-and-so and that's Aunt so-and-so. So there's lots of different possibilities that these tools bring up, and I hope that I've inspired you to think about playing with some of them and experimenting with how you can share your voice, and your students can share their voices in different ways, especially in an online class, but even in a face-to-face class. I don't think we utilize recorded audio nearly to the degree that we can, and especially as we want to make those connections with individual students. Well, I really appreciate you all tuning in and hope this has been beneficial. I'll send you those links to download the podcast versions if you want to share those with other faculty, and I hope to do more of this in the next year, so I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Susan, enjoy that Florida weather.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
All right.
We're envious.
Yes, very. All right. Bye-bye.